Welcome to Portsmouth Insights. I'm your host, Rob Lauer. According to a report issued this past December by the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, the arts accounted for 3.2% of the nation's gross domestic product, or $504 billion, outpacing even the U.S. travel and tourism industries. The arts are certainly playing an important role in the economy of Portsmouth. In addition to attracting Portsmouth citizens, museums and galleries and performing arts venues such as the Entellus Pavilion are drawing growing numbers of tourists and visitors to the city. Tidewater Community College's art school is now located in the heart of Old Town on the corner of High Street and Court Street. And catering to the needs of professional, amateur, and student artists across Hampton Roads is one Portsmouth business that is now 46 years old, Hartung Gallery. On today's show, we'll be speaking with the gallery's owners. And we'll also have a discussion with Dr. John Joyce, president of supporters of Portsmouth Public Art, about the role of the arts in the economic and social revival of a city. All of that and our neighborhood segment are coming up on this episode of Portsmouth Insights. Welcome to Portsmouth Insights. I'm standing in front of Hartung Gallery, which began in the 1960s when Kenneth and Nancy Hartung dreamed of being in business, painting, and selling art. In 1968, they opened a small shop in Portsmouth, only 10 feet wide, with a $55 monthly rent. 46 years later, with the help of 3 generations of Hartungs, faithful employees, and loyal customers, that business now occupies this 4,000 square foot art center in Dale Shops, here on the 4000 block of Portsmouth Boulevard. I'm inside Hartung Gallery, and I'm joined by Mark and Kenneth Hartung, and they're here to tell us a little bit about the business. So thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it. So this month, Hartung's turns 46 years old?
46.
Wow. So what led to the establishment of the business?
Just love to paint. Always drew ever since I was a kid in the sand. Picked up a pencil in school. Teachers got after me because I was always drawing and painting. One thing led to another, and then over a period of lifetime, it just developed into what it is today.
Okay, so the business started in 1968?
That's
Yes.
when I officially when it got the permit to go in business.
Okay, so what was it like? And I know that you were just down the block, about a block down the road. You weren't in this facility here, but tell us a little bit about that original shop, the size of it, and things like the rent. What was it like starting a business and in the arts?
Well, I had $300. I left the shipyard because of disability, and it cost $55 for the rent. I went home, told my mother and my wife I'm going into the art supply business. My mother says, "Kenneth, have you lost your friggin' mind?" I knew I could make it because I grew up in the business world with my dad, my granddad, and the little kid is always into everything, just like you are in yours. And it just, one thing led to another. The next thing you know, someone wanted to buy a painting of mine, and it led to another and another, and here we are today.
So were you selling paintings and art supplies originally, or was it just art supplies?
It started out very slowly. I sold a painting every now and then, even on a picture I got out there. A party walked in, I had to have it right off the easel, unfinished. Offered me a price. I didn't know how to price. Okay, they offered me a price, I had to take it. I needed money.
So how much were you paying for rent originally?
$55.
$55
$55 a month.
And what did you make your first month in business?
$37.
So you were still in the red.
Investing.
But the second month, it doubled. The third month, it doubled again. I sold my boat. I sold my cabin on the water. Bought the old boat back. Bought the cabin back.
Later in time. But he sold everything to go in business.
Wow.
And I came home, my wife, she says, "Would you sell the house?" I said, "House goes too."
So I remember I did art as a child, so I remember in the late 60s coming to the old shop and buying supplies. Now, when was it that you moved to this location here?
Early 70s.
Early 70s? And it was originally, we're in one of the storefronts?
This is the first store that was built in the shopping center.
Okay, now how many storefronts do you occupy? Three. So how have things changed over the years as far as what you, the percentage of, say, art supplies that you sell as opposed to framing and works of art themselves?
Framing's the mainstay. Then comes the supplies. And it's seasonal. When the supplies are rolling, the framing may be slow, and then the framing is doing well, and the supplies might be off peak. So they complement each other, and the pictures is another complement.
Okay,
Prints and paintings.
As far as artists go, have you had a core group of customers over the years? Has that expanded?
Yes, sir. Over the years, and unfortunately, we've watched them blossom and then actually die off, unfortunately. And even their sons and daughters paint. But yes, there are great artists in this area that really support us and recommend us, and we recommend students to them that are looking to learn how to paint and draw.
Has the advent of the TCC Art School here in Old Town, has that helped?
It has been great. They really support us. They let their students know that we're here and can buy local. We send people all the time that want to learn to paint and draw, whatever age, down to them because of the uniqueness of the school.
Now, I know that, I've been in the arts myself. I know that when there are things like a recession, a lot of times, especially performing arts, things seem to really hurt, that feel the effects. How did the recent recession affect you guys?
We still chug along. A lot of times when people don't have the money to maybe hit the movie theaters and restaurants, they will pull out their hobbies and draw and paint, and so it still happens, and we stay the course and keep rolling.
Now, there are national chains of craft stores, I won't name them, but people tend to think of going there to get their art supplies. What is the difference between what you offer here and some of the big national chains of craft stores?
Service, we know the product. Selection, price, we offer a fair price all the time. We don't do a lot of coupons and have heavy prices, and then you have to have the coupons to buy. We offer a fair price every day. So if you get a picture frame today, 3 months from now, you still paid a good price and you didn't miss out on a promo. It is the best price we can offer every day of the week.
As far as art supplies, what do you offer a greater variety here?
Oh, yeah.
Would you say than
Specialized items than you'll find in a big box store.
Okay. So what is the biggest challenge at this point in the game?
Nothing.
He's positive, but we do need to continue to expand the customer base, because as I said, you see every month a good customer, because we've been in business for so long. Mm-hmm. You see customers pass away, and you need customers to replace them. And we're gaining new customers. Things are changing, new markets. So it is a challenge, but we pick up the new customers, thankfully, to replace our ones that have left us.
Okay. Now, before we started rolling, we were talking a little bit about e-commerce and selling online. Mm-hmm. And you were saying that a lot of people just go online and order things, I guess art supplies and things like that. Any plans to expand in that direction?
Oh, yeah.
What are they?
We have a lot of unique items. We get a lot of closeouts and special buys that are great prices, and you only have so much walk-in traffic. So getting it up on the web definitely will increase the bottom line. It just takes time and effort, and we're slowly modernizing to take advantage of that.
Okay, so do you have a website now?
Yes, sir.
What's the web address for that?
artongallery.com.
Okay, and so hopefully in the future then you'll be able to go on there regardless of where you are in the U.S.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Do you have? Are there a lot of businesses like this in Hampton Roads? The smaller businesses like this?
There was 54 of them when I first went in business.
Frame shops.
Frame shops and galleries and paintings and everything else. And sidewalk shows, you name it, it was there. But over a period of time, they just went out one by one by one. Mm-hmm. and
shrinking. We had 2 of our employees that went out and struck out on their own with nice frame shops. And both of them, with the downturn a number of years ago, couldn't hang on, and so we see them come and go.
Okay. Do you see an increase of people young people who are interested in things like drawing and painting, or has it remained pretty steady?
Back during the Depression, there never was, and this is the 1930s, an art supply store never went out. They all flourished. This particular time, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. It's coming back together again. It's leveling out. The good side is we get the business from the rich side, which keeps us in business and keeps them growing.
Well, best of luck for another, hopefully, 46 years. And thanks for joining us today and telling us about everything.
Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next on Portsmouth Insights, we'll talk with Dr. John Joyce from Supporters of Portsmouth Public Art about the role of art in the economic and social life of Portsmouth. Stay tuned.
It was not. It was like...
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Portsmouth Insights and our look at the arts in Portsmouth. Dr. John Joyce has been a tireless advocate for the arts here in Portsmouth. A founder of Supporters of Portsmouth Public Art, he received the Ally Award from the Cultural Alliance of Greater Hampton Roads this past November for his outstanding contributions to the cultural life of Hampton Roads. Dr. John Joyce has been a major force in raising money and installing much of the public art that can be seen in Old Town and in other parts of the city. Those artists and supporters of art who have worked with him are quick to praise him for his vision, his enthusiasm, and his tireless energy.
John, I always say this to people, don't know why I can't say it to you. He makes the Energizer Bunny look like a slug. He is so passionate and so creative, and he is so dedicated to making our city more beautiful, more exciting, and create more communication and more conversation about art and interaction.
John's got more ideas than I do, which is saying something because my job is coming up with ideas.
I used to think I was an idea person, and I do have a lot of ideas, but I can't hold a candle to John.
When you have so many ideas, it's very difficult sometimes to narrow down to one. And John has been very, very good about that. It's difficult for me when someone hires me to paint something in their house. So to have so many great walls around town and have the SBPA with so many ideas, and John being the president has to wrangle all those cats, and he does a great job.
Recently, I spoke with Dr. Joyce on the site of the first public art that he worked to purchase and install, the I've Been Kissed frog sculpture outside the Children's Museum of Virginia. John, thanks for joining us today. So tell me, when did you develop this passion for art?
Not really sure. I've always sort of been interested. I had parents that both were, my mother was a teacher and an artist, drew a lot, and my father carved, and we just sort of grew up with modeling clay and pencils and crayons, and I don't think we called it art, we just called it play, and it still is. So I collect a lot at my house, but I reached a point where in my life I realized it's more fun you get to show your art off more if it's out in the public, and so I really think that's the way to go now. So,
but now, as far as the economy goes, what role can art play in the economy of a place such as Portsmouth?
Well, there's a lot of debate about what art can do for the economy. There are studies that show that it doesn't do anything, but there are also studies that show that 10 artists will be equal to a company of 25 people. And yet, of independent artists, that they bring that much tourism and tax structure. So it's hard to really say, a city certainly can give a company to moving in all kinds of tax breaks. Do they give 10 artists that? No, probably not. So they should see it as that. But I think it goes beyond what it does. I'm not sure unless we could get a sculpture gardens or certain things that are destination. I'm not sure people are drawn to the Toad or whatever. They drive, an hour. But what it makes is the experience of a community. And that's not just with tourism, although I think that's often we think of tourists as our goal. It's the people who live here too. And when they're proud of their city, they invest more in their homes. They want to stay here. Real estate values go up just because of the citizens who are proud of being here. So I think that's more important actually than tourists. But I know the city is interested in the tourism aspect of it, and I think it's very valid. But when you go through a downtown area and you see all this public art starting in various cities, it gives an experience to those tourists that they are part of something going on. It's a personal relationship with that city that they don't get if they're just walking down a street. They see a personality. If we put art that reflects our history and our relationship with the sea, they can feel that. And I think that's really more of it. Just helps with the overall experience, keeps people here longer. And if they stay on the streets longer, they may shop more, they may eat more. And that's where the crime rates tend to go down because people are out. And even at night, I was recently reading about Paris, how Paris invented shopping because they put streetlights up. No other city had streetlights in the 1700s. Like, wow, what a simple thing to do. People actually can go out. And likewise, I don't know how long you've been in this city, but 25 years ago, you could find a parking spot anywhere downtown. True. And now, I had to park about 3 blocks away. So it was sort of cool, that we're getting there. And so
what are there misperceptions that people have about the role of art? Not maybe just economically, but in the life of a city generally.
I think, again, some of the things I think about public art is, one is the word public. It's for everyone. And I think of the word public spaces, it really means for everyone. And I once was told that a public space doesn't belong to anyone because it belongs to everybody. No one individual can have it. And I think that's the wrong perception. I think public space, meaning your sidewalks, your medians, that's all public space, and it all should be utilized by the people. The city can regulate, but they should not restrict it to the point of nothing can be done. And I think a lot of cities find it easier not to allow things than to allow expression.
Is that fear of controversy?
Oh, I think so. I mean, you're going to have people complain about every aspect. People who don't like toads maybe might complain. I mean, it's amazing that, but for the most part, I think we own this public space and we should be able to utilize it. And I think that's a big, I don't know what the city, our city people feel the same way, but because I know it means more work for them. Right. But unfortunately, it's our space. And I think cities are now starting to welcoming. They find that when people take ownership of something, they respect it more, and therefore less vandalism. The cities in Virginia that I've been to so many times, Charlottesville and Richmond, they've really found that art is a great way to give people ownership.
So what is do you have a vision personally for the direction you'd like to see Portsmouth go?
Well, I'd say our citizens, we founded a Supporters of Portsmouth Public Art as a non-profit to try to get things started because we weren't seeing anything occurring. And we're wanting to encourage other people to do this, not just, we don't want to be the only person in town doing things. And but I would love to see sculpture gardens. Talking about destinations, I would love a sculpture garden along the waterfront. I mean, we have a beautiful waterfront. We have the prettiest waterfront around. It should be a strolling event that we could see and have people linger more there. Maybe a sculpture garden in the west end of the city. And in between, on the medians, murals, flags, you name it. And every neighborhood should be able to put their identity on a piece of art. I mean, you know, every neighborhood is so different, and it'd be nice to let them embrace their personalities. And it really helps with we're such a diverse city that it would be great as an art group, we don't want to go in and tell a neighborhood what they should do. We want them to come to us and let us assist them in helping their idea of what they want. I think we've got a good relationship right now with our city people as far as they want the art here. Sometimes when there's about 150 art groups in the United States. 2/3 of them are city owned or city run, you know, and that's good. But sometimes the city will come down very harshly. Thank goodness there are artists that are help the city with it. But it'd be nice if it's more of a grassroots, and that's really what we'd like our group to be. So I'm hoping that as we get accomplished after accomplishment, that we'll be known as one of the art cities in Tidewater.
Coming up next on Portsmouth Insights, we'll take a look at the neighborhood of Long Point. Stay tuned.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Ready or not, here I come.
Take time to be a dad today.
Daddy, I'm gonna find you.
Welcome back to Portsmouth Insights. Long Point is a neighborhood of 540 single-family homes and townhouses located in the Churchland area, bordering Hoffler Creek's Wildlife Preserve. Built in the 1980s, Long Point features a beautiful man-made lake that provides waterfront for several properties. It also boasts an energetic, dedicated civic league that works to improve the quality of life for its residents with ongoing activities and special events.
My name is Joanne Kaywood, and I moved into the wonderful neighborhood of Long Point actually on Valentine's Day, 1986. My husband and I were riding on our bicycles when Long Point was being built, and we fell in love with one of the model homes and said, this is where we want to live because I want that home. And we were not even married at the time. And we said, well, to get that house, I guess we'll say I do, and we've been there ever since.
My name is Andre Mayfield, and I've lived in Long Point now for just a little over 17 years. Admittedly, I spent a lot of years in Hawaii and Washington, D.C., and Japan, lived all over the world. But this is home, and this is why I wanted to move back to Portsmouth. Well, I looked at a lot of areas, including Green Lakes and a few other areas, but Long Point, after visiting there and talking to a few of my friends who currently live there now, I was sold. And so here I am, Long Point.
My name is Sandra Barkley, and I've been in Long Point since 2009, kind of a short-termer. And I'm there because when I was looking for a house, I saw this little ranch, and I went, and when I saw the outside of it and I saw the neighborhood, I was sold. It's settled in. It felt established and right. And once I moved in, I was definitely settled in because of the good neighbors.
My name is Bruce Arsenault. I live in Long Point. I moved in Long Point, I say right around 2003, December time frame. I was actually I was active military at that time. I was in the market for looking for a nice house, but it was funny because I said I do not want to go to Portsmouth. However, the realtor takes me into this neighborhood. I did not realize I was in Portsmouth, and I seen a house, I fell in love with it. from there on, it grew from there.
The neighborhood was lovely, and the lot we picked out was on a cul-de-sac, and all of the homes were not just alike, even though they were model homes, but everyone really had different homes. And we've lived there now for, I believe, 27 years, 28 years. And I wouldn't live any other place but Long Point, and I wouldn't live any other place but Portsmouth.
Everyone is friendly. There's a very together neighborhood.
The first trash day, my neighbor across the street came over and took my trash out. I don't know what could be better.
We have a very active civic league, and people help other people. We do things together. We have social activities, we have block parties, we have neighborhood watch. We have a National Night Out parade every year.
Each year we have a membership drive. Also each year we have a barbecue for the members of the Civic League. In actuality, on Halloween we sponsor tabletops, and we give gifts out and candy to all of the neighborhood kids.
I'm so impressed with what they do in the neighborhood to bring everyone together, and I always try to be part of it.
The Civic League is very much in promoting activities that try to draw the neighborhood together, try to give opportunities for the families to get together. So we have, of course, the National Night Out. We have a members-only party for those that are members, and that's a great cookout kind of activity. We had a barbecue cook-off this year, which was really a lot of fun because I got to be one of the judges. That was the best part. But we do activities that try to promote that idea of being in a neighborhood and people getting together and do things.
Prime example, Peggy and her husband, they send out newsletters, and I can honestly tell you, when I was stationed overseas in Japan, I mean, I look forward to receiving the emails that she was sending about the neighborhood and what was going on. And I'm talking, it was current. Yeah. And it was like watching the daily news. I would go to my email and she had something there almost every day. So here it is, I'm in Japan, I'm getting the latest update from the neighborhood civic league for what's going on in the neighborhood. And I'm talking, they do this for free. They're not being paid. And the effort that they put into it, I mean, words can't even express.
I think that there is a sense of neighborliness. There is a desire from a lot of the people there to have that neighborhood feeling, that way that people kind of equate with the past, maybe, but when we have the young people move in with families, they want the same thing. And I really feel it there, that people have that neighborhood, that close-knit feeling.
What really makes Long Point unique, simply put, is the people that are there.
We have Civic League members that don't live in the neighborhood. They believe what we do is so dramatic and brings everyone together. They live in neighborhoods close to us, and they belong to our Civic League and pay dues every year and help us with our activities. And our shutterbug, who takes our photographs for our events, lived in our neighborhood. She had to move away. She still pays her dues and still comes to our events and takes the photographs. Now, if that is not a classic example of a wonderful neighborhood, I don't know what is.
That's it for our show today. As is our custom here, we asked our guests what they would like you to know about Portsmouth. Let's hear what they had to say.
I've lived in Hawaii. I've lived in the DC area. I've lived in Florida, California, Alaska. I've seen so much of the world, but this is home. There's so much that Portsmouth has to offer. It's close to the water. There are restaurants all the way down High Street. And there's other places that you can go and participate. The museums that's always available.
Portsmouth has a wonderful sense of history. And when you come downtown Portsmouth here and go to the Hill House, or when you walk the streets and look at some of the homes and all, is just worth the visit, just to come for that?
Well, I worked for the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce for many years and economic development, and there was always the perception that nobody wanted to work or live in Portsmouth. I moved here in 1973, and I have never left, and I never will until the day I die and move back to Maine. That's in a box.
Well, there you have it. But don't take their word for it. Come to Portsmouth. See what all the talk is about. I'm Rob Lauer. Join me next time for another episode of Portsmouth Insights.